We're counting down the 7 most horrific birthday deaths ever captured. Real tragedies where celebration itself became a deadly catalyst. From milestone parties turned fatal to traditions and surprises ending in catastrophe. Each entry exposes how life's happiest day can become its cruelest. Which chilling case tops the list as the ultimate cautionary tale? Let's begin our countdown with number 7. Jasmine turned 21 on June 7, 2016, inviting friends and family to a backyard pool in Orlando for a party meant to celebrate adulthood. The crowd swelled to 20, music thumped, and laughter bounced off the water. As the centerpiece of the night, guests dared Jasmine to outdo everyone with a head-first dive, a birthday tradition, cheered on by friends pressing in close to the pool's edge. Jasmine launched herself into the water at a steep angle, aiming for applause. The pool was only 4 feet, 3 inches deep. Her head struck the bottom with enough force to cause atlanto-occipital dislocation, a catastrophic injury where the skull separates from the spine. She never surfaced. For 2 minutes and 40 seconds, partygoers danced, mingled, and called her name, assuming she'd slipped away for snacks or a towel. 3 guests stood within 7 feet, but no one noticed her motionless body beneath the surface. By the time someone spotted her, rescue efforts came too late. The official cause of death was drowning, secondary to internal decapitation. Jasmine's parents now mourn both her birthday and her passing on the same date every year. In the aftermath, Orlando passed a new ordinance in December 2017, requiring lifeguards and illuminated depth markers at all rented pool venues. Jasmine's birthday was meant to be a milestone. Instead, it became a warning about how celebration and distraction can mask the deadliest risks. Robert's 60th birthday fell on a brisk Tuesday in Des Moines, March 3, 2015. His family spent weeks planning a surprise at the Grand Event Center, inviting friends, decorating the hall, and reserving a fog machine for dramatic effect. At 6:14 p.m., Robert stepped through the doors, greeted by a sudden burst of noise, shouting guests, confetti cannons, and swirling artificial fog. Balloons rained down as the crowd surged forward, overwhelming him with hugs and laughter. Within seconds, Robert clutched his chest and staggered. He collapsed to the floor, his face pale, eyes unfocused. Panic swept the room. A guest dialed 911 while another began chest compressions. The first chest compression started 90 seconds after collapse. An automated external defibrillator was fetched from the lobby and activated at 2 minutes, 12 seconds. Paramedics arrived and continued resuscitation, but Robert never regained consciousness. He was pronounced dead at Mercy Hospital at 7:02 p.m. The cause: acute myocardial infarction, triggered by a surge of adrenaline from the shock of the surprise. Ventricular fibrillation, a lethal rhythm disrupting blood flow to the brain and heart. In the weeks that followed, liability disputes erupted. Internal emails between the event company and their insurer debated whether the venue bore responsibility for not requiring pre-event medical disclosures or on-site emergency equipment. The City Council responded with new rules. All licensed event venues in Des Moines must now have an AED on site and staff trained in CPR. Statewide, venues adopted the Heart-Safe Party Protocol, transforming a single tragic birthday into a catalyst for lasting change. Lila's friends gathered at the Lompoc Airfield on September 18, 2020, to celebrate her 30th birthday with a bucket list tandem skydive. The mood was electric. Her first jump, a gift she'd dreamed about for years. Balloons and a homemade banner waved at the drop zone as her group recorded every moment, eager to capture the leap into a new decade. Lila suited up with her instructor, clipped into the harness, and posed for a final group photo. The company's safety briefing was brief: standard paperwork, a quick demonstration, then a rushed equipment check as the next birthday group waited. At 2:41 p.m., the plane climbed past 13,000 feet. Friends on the ground aimed their phones skyward as Lila and her instructor tumbled into open air. 6 seconds into freefall, her main parachute failed to deploy. The backup reserve never released. Video from the ground captured her descent. 14 seconds of uncontrolled fall, ending in a 92-mile-per-hour impact less than 100 yards from the viewing area. The coroner's report listed catastrophic blunt force trauma, fractures at the skull base, C2 to C3 cervical dislocation, bilateral pulmonary contusions. Lila was pronounced dead within 3 minutes of landing. The NTSB investigation found the main chute improperly packed. Maintenance logs showed a skipped reserve pull check, and the instructor's sign-off was missing. FAA records revealed the operator had bypassed annual packing audits, exploiting a loophole common in high-volume milestone jump businesses. Lila's family released the video as evidence in a push for federal reform. In 2021, the FAA mandated annual packing audits and stricter instructor certification for commercial skydiving, with Lila's Law requiring video documentation of all pre-jump safety checks. Her birthday, meant to launch a new chapter, became a catalyst for national change in skydiving safety. Mateo's 10th birthday fell on a warm Sunday afternoon, May 14, 2017, in a quiet Austin neighborhood. Dozens of balloons filled the backyard. Family and classmates crowded around a folding table, singing as his aunt brought out a homemade cake, decorated with blue frosting and 10 candles. Mateo's mother checked the ingredient list twice, as always. He had lived with a severe tree nut allergy since infancy, and every party meant careful planning, strict rules, and a backup EpiPen nearby. But this year, his aunt had baked the cake herself, substituting pistachio flour for almond after a mix-up with the family's allergy checklist. The packaging looked nearly identical. Grocery receipts later confirmed the error. At 3:10 p.m., Mateo made his wish and took the first bite. Within a minute, he began to cough, his lips swelling and skin flushing. Party chatter turned to panic as Mateo struggled to breathe, wheezing and clutching his throat. His father called 911 at 3:12. The EpiPen was found 4 minutes and 17 seconds after exposure, but by then, Mateo's airway was almost completely closed. Paramedics arrived 9 minutes after the first symptoms. Despite repeated doses of epinephrine and advanced airway support, Mateo was pronounced dead from anaphylactic shock at 3:22 p.m. The aftermath left the family caught between grief and guilt. Photos from that day, balloons, candles, the half-eaten cake, became permanent reminders of a celebration turned fatal. Mateo's parents published their allergy checklist and called for change. The investigation traced the reaction to the pistachio flour, confirming cross-contamination and the lack of clear labeling. In June 2018, Texas enacted new allergen labeling laws for bakeries and school events, requiring explicit warnings for all major allergens and EpiPen access at children's party venues. Mateo's 10th birthday is now remembered not just as a day of loss, but as the moment a single oversight led to a law that may save countless other children. Brooke turned 15 on July 2, 2018, and chose Cedar Thrill Park for her birthday. A tradition in her family, but this year was different. She invited a dozen friends, determined to ride the park's signature coaster as many times as possible. The group cheered her on, snapping photos and counting each lap. By late afternoon, Brooke had completed 4 rides, her smile undimmed, her friends urging her to go for a 5th. No one paused at the sign near the entrance. Small print warned of risks for those with heart or vascular conditions, but most guests brushed past, caught up in the rush of celebration. At 4:38 p.m., Brooke boarded the coaster for her 5th consecutive ride. The train accelerated, pushing riders through a series of sharp turns and drops, reaching lateral forces of 3.2 Gs. Near the final curve, Brooke's head slumped forward. She lost consciousness within 12 seconds. The ride coasted to a stop, and her friends shouted her name, thinking she was playing along. Only when she failed to respond did the panic set in. Park staff called emergency medical services. Paramedics arrived within 7 minutes and initiated advanced life support, but Brooke never regained consciousness. She was pronounced dead at the park's medical bay at 5:01 p.m. The coroner's report cited a massive subarachnoid hemorrhage. Her undiagnosed cerebral aneurysm had ruptured under the stress of repeated high G-forces. In the aftermath, investigators scrutinized park protocols. There had been no pre-ride screening, no health questionnaires, and the warning sign was easy to miss in the birthday excitement. Interviews with guests revealed that peer pressure and the festive mood encouraged Brooke to keep riding, despite her growing fatigue. The incident highlighted a gap in safety. Theme parks rarely ask about medical history, and most guests, especially teens, are unaware of hidden risks. Cedar Thrill Park responded by installing larger, more visible warning signs at all thrill ride entrances and adding health questionnaires to their app. An EMS station was constructed within sight of the main coasters. Liability waivers now include explicit language about the dangers of repeated high-force rides. Brooke's family attends the park each July, laying flowers on the anniversary that is both her birthday and the day she died. Her story is now cited in industry safety briefings nationwide, a reminder that celebration can sometimes blind us to the limits of the body. On August 29, 2014, a group gathered before sunrise in Taos, New Mexico to celebrate a 30th birthday with a hot air balloon ride. The plan was for a scenic ascent over the Rio Grande Gorge, an experience chosen specifically for the milestone. 4 friends, including the birthday guest of honor, arrived at the launch site at 7:10 a.m. The pilot, a seasoned local operator, reviewed the morning's weather. Steady winds at 16 miles per hour, with gusts forecasted to reach 24 by mid-morning. Federal Aviation Administration guidance recommended canceling flights above 16 miles per hour, but the group, eager to preserve the birthday memory, pleaded for the launch to proceed. Audio from the cockpit voice recorder later captured the pilot's hesitation. "Forecast's rough, but it's your day." The balloon lifted off at 7:40 a.m., climbing quickly as the wind began to pick up. At altitude, the wind shifted unexpectedly, pushing the balloon south and reducing the pilot's margin for a safe landing. At 8:17 a.m., a weather bulletin relayed to all local balloonists warned of increasing gusts. The pilot radioed ground crew, acknowledging the update but stating, "We're committed." As the balloon descended toward a landing zone, a sudden 24-mile-per-hour gust caught the canopy, tilting the basket and accelerating the descent. The balloon struck the ground at 44 feet per second, nearly 30 miles per hour, flipping the basket and igniting the propane system. Witnesses described a brief, chaotic fire before the envelope collapsed. All 4 passengers were pronounced dead at the scene by 8:49 a.m. The medical examiner cited severe traumatic cranial and thoracic injuries as the cause of death. The FAA investigation traced the accident to the decision to launch despite clear wind warnings, compounded by the pressure to deliver a birthday experience. The pilot's logbook revealed a pattern of accommodating passenger requests on milestone occasions, sometimes at the edge of safety protocols. The CVR transcript showed the pilot's repeated reassurances, even as ground advisories urged caution. In the aftermath, the National Transportation Safety Board recommended immediate reforms. The FAA instituted a mandatory pre-launch wind speed cutoff of 16 miles per hour for all commercial balloon operations, with birthday and celebration rides flagged for additional scrutiny. The New Mexico Balloon Operators Association adopted new passenger briefing protocols and upgraded insurance requirements, emphasizing pilot authority over celebratory demands. For the families, the collision of celebration and catastrophe remains inescapable. The date of the birthday is now the date of the funeral, and every August 29th brings both memory and mourning. The Taos crash stands as a turning point in ballooning safety, a case where the joy of a milestone day overwhelmed judgment, and the desire to make a birthday unforgettable instead made it tragic for everyone involved. Kyle turned 21 on April 12, 2019 in Tempe, Arizona, a date he had marked for months as the gateway to adulthood. Friends filled the bar by 8:30 p.m., crowding around a table decorated with balloons and a sash that read, "Finally 21." The tradition was clear: one shot for every year, a rite of passage that had become a fixture in college towns across the country. Kyle's friends pooled cash for the tab, and the bar staff, after initial hesitation, agreed to pour the drinks, citing the night's birthday exception and a generous tip. The first shot went down at 8:44 p.m., a round of cinnamon whiskey punctuated by cheers and phone cameras. By 9:40 p.m., Kyle had finished his eighth, pausing only for photos and a round of high fives. The atmosphere grew louder, the group chanting his name as the tally climbed. Bartenders hesitated at shot 15, but the crowd's insistence, "It's his 21st," overrode standard refusal policies. At 11:16 p.m., Kyle raised his 21st shot, a blue Curacao concoction, and swallowed it to a roar of applause. Friends filmed the moment, immortalizing the milestone. Within an hour, Kyle's coordination faltered. He stumbled to the restroom, slurred his words, and grew pale. At 12:15 a.m., he lost consciousness at the booth, his breathing shallow and irregular. Friends assumed he needed sleep, laying him across the back seat of a car with a water bottle and a blanket. The party continued, music spilling from open bars as the city celebrated another batch of new adults. At 1:02 a.m., a friend checked on Kyle and found him unresponsive. Paramedics arrived within 6 minutes, initiating advanced airway management and cardiac monitoring. Hospital records documented a blood alcohol concentration of 0.23% at 1:40 a.m., nearly 3 times the legal limit for intoxication. Despite aggressive resuscitation, Kyle was pronounced dead at 1:39 a.m. The autopsy cited acute ethanol toxicity with cerebral edema and pulmonary suppression as the immediate causes of death. The aftermath left friends and family facing a double anniversary, each April 12th, now carrying both celebration and mourning. Witnesses described the guilt and disbelief that followed, many admitting they'd seen similar rituals dozens of times but never imagined a fatal outcome. The toxicology report and bar receipts became evidence in a state investigation. The Arizona Liquor Board reviewed the case, focusing on the bar's decision to serve beyond visible intoxication and the culture of birthday exception that excused dangerous binge drinking. In June 2019, Arizona enacted a ban on age equals shots promotions, making it illegal for bars to advertise or facilitate drinking rituals tied to milestone birthdays. Bartenders statewide received new training on intoxication recognition, and Arizona State University launched a freshman orientation module warning against birthday binge traditions. The hashtag #CelebrateSafe campaign spread across social media, urging students to look out for one another and reject the pressure to outdrink their age. Kyle's story now circulates in prevention seminars and policy briefings, a stark illustration of how the pursuit of a memorable birthday can erase the possibility of any more to come. The tradition that was supposed to mark the start of adulthood instead forced a reckoning with the lethal risks of celebration culture. From a show-off dive at a 21st birthday pool party to the shocking 21 shots ritual that topped this list, each of these 7 cases revealed how celebration itself became the fatal trigger. Across every entry, the common pattern was clear. Birthday joy and tradition often led to dangerous exceptions, whether it was peer pressure, overlooked health risks, or the urge to make milestones unforgettable. The most shocking deaths weren't random. They resulted directly from birthday activities, with families left to mourn on the very day meant to celebrate life. Milestone birthdays, group encouragement, and the illusion of safety created a perfect storm for tragedy, as seen in the hot air balloon crash and the overlooked allergy in a homemade cake. These stories expose the cruel irony at the heart of the category. When celebration eclipses caution, the day we're meant to mark survival can instead become a permanent reminder of loss. In the end, these horrific birthday deaths show that even our most cherished rituals carry hidden risks, turning the happiest day into the unthinkable.